South Korea is literally running out of people. At this rate, their population graph doesn't just dip, it nosedives like oh my god! The country's birth rate is the lowest on Earth, and no government on the planet has ever seen numbers this bad. So how did one of the most advanced, trend-setting nations in Asia end up facing the possibility of, well, disappearing? Stick around until the end, because this isn't just about babies.
Welcome to Rice University, where we teach things they don't teach at Harvard. Lesson 1. South Korea has a birth rate of 0.72. To put that into perspective, you need a rate of 2.1 children per woman just to keep a population stable. That's the replacement level. Anything below that, and your country starts shrinking like a wool sweater in hot water. At 0.72, South Korea isn't just below replacement. It's practically underground. If you listen closely, you can almost hear the demographers sobbing into their Excel sheets. Now, numbers on their own don't scare people, so let's make it human. Imagine a classroom of 10 women. If all of them live their lives in South Korea's current system, those 10 women will have, in total, about 7 children. That means the next generation isn't even replacing themselves. Give it a few decades and, well, that family reunion, it's going to look more like a dinner for two. What's more shocking is that the government has spent over $200 billion trying to fix this problem. Cash handouts, free childcare, housing perks, even matchmaking apps. Yeah, they've basically tried everything. Yet the birth rate keeps dropping. It's almost comical, like throwing money at a broken vending machine and still not getting the candy bar. But the machine isn't broken, the system is. And this is where things get dark, because South Korea's problem isn't that women can't have children, it's that they've looked at the deals society is offering them and said, no thanks. If your government paid you to have kids, would that actually change your mind? Or is it about something deeper? And what exactly is in that deal? Why are people walking away from marriage and kids altogether? If you thought dating was hard where you live, welcome to South Korea, where romance has to fight against their economy, the office, and Instagram filters all at once. On paper, it sounds like the perfect place to fall in love. K-dramas, candlelit cafes, couples wearing matching sweaters. South Korea practically exports romance as a product. But the reality? It's more Squid Game than crash landing on you. Let's start with work. The average South Korean employee grinds out some of the longest working hours in the developed world. The 9 to 5 is more like 9 to 10, and don't even think about skipping after hours drinking with the boss. By the time you drag yourself home, you're not planning a date night. You're just trying not to pass out in front of your instant noodles. But all this work doesn't pay enough. Housing prices in Seoul are so ridiculous that young people have started joking about Hell Joseon, a nickname for modern South Korea that basically means the system is rigged and you'll never win. Buying a home feels like buying a ticket to Mars. Theoretically possible, but not with your salary. Add to that the cost of private education, and having kids doesn't just look expensive. It looks financially suicidal. But wait, we're not done yet. Enter South Korea's obsession with looks. This is a country where beauty standards are so brutal that job applicants are often expected to attach a photo of themselves to their resume. If you thought you were competing in the dating market, try competing in a society where cosmetic surgery is advertised on subway billboards. For many women, the message is clear: be flawless or be invisible. So what happens when you combine overwork, unaffordable housing, and impossible beauty standards? You get a generation that looks at marriage and kids and says, why bother? And honestly, can you blame them? Love may be blind, but in South Korea, it also needs a 6-figure bank account, glowing skin, and a miracle housing loan. Ever lived in a place where the dream version of love looks totally different from the real thing? What did that gap feel like for you? Welcome to Government Solutions 101, where throwing money at the problem is the first, second, and sometimes the only idea. South Korea has spent the last 2 decades building the most expensive baby loyalty program in human history. If Storks had a rewards card, Korea would have maxed it out. The bill? Over $200 billion. The results? A birth rate so low you'd think Tinder was banned nationwide. Here's the problem. Babies aren't iPhones.
Are you sure about that?
You can't bribe people into wanting them. Sure, free diapers and tax breaks sound nice. But when the bigger picture is crushing, housing that costs a fortune, careers that demand your soul, schools that turn toddlers into test-taking machines, then a few $1,000 is like slapping a band-aid on a bullet wound. And young Koreans know this. Surveys show that even with incentives, many still don't want kids, or even marriage. Because the math doesn't add up. Raising a child is a 20-year, six-figure project. But the government's rebate feels like a coupon you forget to use before it expires. It's not that people don't want families at all. It's that they don't want them under impossible conditions. Imagine offering free helmets to people about to run headfirst into a brick wall. It doesn't matter how shiny the helmet is, the wall still wins. If your government handed you cash to have a kid, would it really change your mind? Like, really? Or would you still look at the bigger picture and go, nah, not worth it? But other countries are watching Korea closely. Japan, China, and even parts of Europe are creeping toward the same demographic cliff. So, if the richest experiments in baby bonuses fail here, what happens when the rest of the world hits the same wall? Stick around, because we will get into the Western demographics as well.
The reality is marriage in South Korea is less about love and more about paperwork, family obligations, and the occasional financial quicksand. Dating apps are popular, yes, but swiping right doesn't erase the pressure that comes after. Parents still expect the whole package, wedding hall, apartment, maybe even a car, all before you've even figured out how to keep a succulent alive. And women, especially women, they're just not buying it anymore. The traditional script says, marry early, give up your career, raise the kids, and smile politely while society applauds. But women today are educated, ambitious, and frankly tired of carrying both the baby and the blame. Surveys show many avoid marriage because they don't want to trade independence for exhaustion. And can you blame them? If love feels like a lifelong unpaid internship, no one's signing that contract.
For men, the deal isn't rosy either. The costs are crushing, the expectations sky high, and the social pressure relentless. Imagine proposing to someone, and instead of yes, you both open a spreadsheet of debt. Not exactly romance material. So, the result? A growing culture of honjok, the loner lifestyle. Young people eating alone, traveling alone, and happily living on their own terms. It's not that love is gone, it's that the societal packaging of it feels outdated. But when fewer people marry, even fewer have kids. And when fewer kids are born, the entire national future is on the line. So the real question isn't why aren't they dating? It's what happens to a society where love itself becomes optional.
Let's talk about real estate, because if you're young in South Korea, buying a home feels about as realistic as buying Mars. Let's start with the numbers. Seoul's housing market is one of the most expensive in the world, rivaling places like New York or London. The difference? Salaries don't keep pace. A young couple might need to save for decades just to afford a modest apartment. By then, the honeymoon phase is long gone, and so is the energy to decorate. The infamous chonsa system makes things worse. Imagine this. Instead of paying monthly rent, you hand over a massive lump sum, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, just to live there. When you move out, the money comes back, but until then, it's like giving your landlord a no-interest loan. Sounds charming, unless you're the one stuck trying to raise that kind of cash. Now layer on job insecurity. Yes, South Korea is known for its booming economy and tech giants, but beneath the shiny exterior, stable jobs are shrinking. Young workers bounce between temporary contracts, long hours, and low pay. So when society says buy a house, raise a family, contribute to the nation, the response is often, with what money? This crushing combo of high housing costs and unstable work has created a generation that views financial independence as nearly impossible. And if you can't afford a home, you can't afford marriage. And if you can't afford marriage, kids don't even enter the chat. It's not just a personal issue. It's a national crisis in slow motion. A whole generation staring at apartment prices and saying, you know what? I'll just stay single and get a cat.